Hey, welcome to this video on planning poker. If you haven't watched the video on relative estimation, intro to relative estimation, please go watch that first because this won't make sense without that. So please go watch relative estimation first, then we'll talk about planning poker. The two actually go hand in hand, so it's like part A and part B. Planning poker is one way of putting points on a card, estimating points on a story, estimating the size, complexity, and uncertainty of a story. I find it very effective and efficient, so it's what I tend to use when I'm working with clients. Let's just start out with the rules of the game. Every good poker game has its rules. They vary from Texas Hold'em to 5-card stud and any other versions. I don't really play poker, so I don't know. But this is planning poker. So first, everyone gets a set of Fibonacci cards. It's not hard. You can put it on, write your own cards on sticky notes. Really, you don't need to go buy these things. Or you can contact any one of the software vendors. They'll provide them for you. So say, hey, I want a deck of your cards. They're like free publicity. Okay. Sometimes in classes, I'll hand them out. I'll just contact one of the vendors and go, hey, give me a set of cards, and they'll give me cards for everybody in the class. So ask the vendors, they're happy to give them away. Fibonacci set includes cards 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and 13. Just like we talked about, that's the Fibonacci sequence. If you look at it, Fibonacci is just adding the two last numbers, and that makes your next number. So it should actually be 1 and 1. So 1 and 1 makes 2, 1 and 2 makes 3, 2 and 3 makes 5, 3 and 5 makes 8, 5 and 8 makes 13. We only go up to 13 because beyond that, you're getting too big. The other two cards that are in your Fibonacci card deck, your planning poker deck, are a question mark, which means I don't really have enough information for this, and a plus sign or infinity sign or some other sign that says, essentially, it's bigger than a 13 and we need to break this down. Personally, I like to have teams not have anything bigger than an 8. Because 13-point cards are really pretty darn big. Depending on the size of your ones usually are pretty small, right? It's relatively small in size, complexity, and uncertainty. So as soon as you're up to 13, it gets to be something that's a little too big for a lot of reasons. We can talk about that when we get into the planning and estimating part of it. About where will we talk about that? We'll talk about that in planning releases, I think. Anyway, here we are. That's what you've got. You've got a deck of points poker cards, and as a team now, you've got your backlog of stories in front of you, and you look through that or some subset of that. If you have a backlog that's got hundreds of cards in it, don't kill yourself going through hundreds of cards. I've done it before. I've had hundreds of cards before, and you don't need to go through all that. So just grab, a chunk of them and look through it and find the smallest one, right? So look through about 20 cards and find what you as a team agree is smallest in the compilation of size, complexity, and uncertainty. Don't try and do math about it. Just look at the stinking card and figure out which is the smallest. It actually isn't as hard as it sounds because you're just like the beer in the last session. You're just relatively estimating things against each other. You're not looking for, is this 1 day's worth of work or 1 hour's worth of work? That'll screw you up. And I'll tell you why at the end of this session. We'll talk in some greater detail about why that'll screw you up. Look for a small card. That's your 1. That now becomes the reference point for everything else from there forward. Okay? Next. This looks like a lot of rules, but it's not. It's just, you just kind of step through these things and it goes really fast. The next thing you do is you grab the first card off of the top of the prioritized backlog, right? So hopefully when you're doing planning poker, you've already got your backlog prioritized, so you're not randomly trying to estimate things down in the stack somewhere. You grab the first card off the top, you set a timer. So somebody has one of these pocket computers with a phone function, and one of the applications that has on it is a stopwatch of some kind. So grab a stopwatch, have somebody grab their phone and start timing. 3 minutes is the first time block that we use. For 3 minutes, you discuss the card. Ideally, the product owner is there. If the product owner is not there, stop and go get them, because you can't answer a lot of the questions without having the product owner there. If you use BAs and product owners and project managers and product managers and salespeople, ideally you'd have all those kinds of people there so that they can all have input into what you're asking. When you have a question, the person should be there to answer it, right? It's not asking too much for them to join you for an hour or two of a meeting. That will help them in the long run know when things are going to be available for them and how much work is involved in what they're requesting. So it's in their best interest to be there. All right, 3 minutes, you discuss it. And then privately, like you're playing poker, you make your selection. Which one of those numbers do you think it is? Considering that we already have number 1, look at that one, think about it, size, complexity, uncertainty. Now compare that to the current one. You have a choice, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, maybe 13. What do you choose? What do you choose? Okay, so you chose a 5. Don't show it yet. Hold your cards until someone counts to 3 or counts down from 3, whatever you do. 3, 2, 1, everybody shows their card at the same time. Now, here's the reason you don't show your cards early. It's a cognitive bias called anchoring. If you show your card early and you are someone whom, well, if you show your card early, period, people will be biased. If you showed a 1 and everyone else thinking about it was thinking it might be a 3, but they see your 1, they're going to adjust. Just human nature. It's a subconscious thing that we have very little control over. It's similar to the thing when you're thinking about buying a red Volkswagen Beetle, suddenly you see a million red Volkswagen Beetles out there. It's not the same bias, but it's a bias. It's a subconscious thing that your brain does without your willingness. So don't show the card. Hold it until they count 3, 2, 1, show. Now, as soon as they show, everybody in the group looks around and sees, okay, what do we got? What's the range? You might have a really wide range. You might have a 1, you might have an 8 or a 13, maybe you have a plus, right? If you have a question mark, you automatically start discussing it. But if you have diversity, right, and not everybody just showed a 3, then the high and the low each get 1 minute. So the high person goes and they discuss why they thought it should have been an 8 or whatever number they chose. I'm just randomly choosing 8. So this person chooses 8 and they say, well, because I have experience with this part of the data and blah, 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 blah. These are all the things. And the person that chooses that had a 1 says, well, I have experience in this part of the data, and here's the reasons why, because it's really simple. This has already been done before. We have libraries of code that we can pull from, blah, 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 blah. Oh, so now you've each had 1 minute to describe. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Everybody revotes, right? You recast your time estimation. What do you think? Your time uncertainty, blah, 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 blah. Size, complexity, and uncertainty estimation, right? There it is. Put your card out. Now you'll probably start to see some convergence. People are starting to agree, okay, I understand this person's or that person's opinion. Makes sense. Once again, you have the high and the low describe why they think it was whatever they thought it was for 1 minute. Even if they don't get through their description in 1 minute, just vote again, right? You're not trying to crush the other person with your opinion. You're trying to help the group come to a consensus on the size, complexity, and uncertainty, the point value of this card. All right, so you discuss it for 1 and 1 and vote again. Do that again. High and the low one more time. This will be your 3rd time. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3. You voted again. If you have consensus, which surprisingly you will have consensus very often by the 2nd, if not by the 3rd. If you don't, usually there's 1 or 2 outliers at the most in your group. If you've got a group of like 8 people and there's 2 outliers, or if you've got a group of 8 people, there's like 1 outlier, then you have a very quick, hey, are you okay if we just go with this number on it? Typically, I like to round up, but that's not a rule. It's just it's more like a guideline, as they would say in the Pirates of the Caribbean. So typically I round up just because it's better to be long estimated than short estimated, and it's usually not going to be that dramatically different, right? It's usually not a consensus of most of the people have said 2 and one person is still saying 8 after 3 rounds, right? And you're going to round up to 8. No. So that's what you do. You reach consensus, or you say, hey, are you okay with it being this? And we'll see what happens. That's good. You're done. Record that on the card in your tool, whatever tool you use, software or hardware, and move on to the next card. Boom, you're done. You can get through a lot of cards. This total time, let's see, if you have 3 minutes here and 1 minute for each person to explain, that's a 5-minute round. So it's 5 minutes, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 minutes. You should be around 10 to 12 minutes per card to get through this at the most, right? Maybe you'll get to the point where you're quickly coming to consensus on the first round, or maybe the second, because you as a group start to get to know each other, start to get to know each other's skills and abilities, and you understand each other better.